In October of 2023, the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka and the Bengaluru in charge minister announced 190 kilometers of tunnel roads under the city of Bengaluru to make vehicles go faster. This will be executed in many pieces. The first of these is a 4-kilometer long tunnel with a stated cost of 2,700 crores in the north of Bengaluru from the Hebbal flyover to the Mekri Circle, which most travelers getting into the city from the Bengaluru International Airport will cross. Hello and welcome to the OoruLabs podcast with me, Sathya Sankaran. Today, we will try to understand, is this project for Bengaluru really worth it? The Hebbal flyover in the north of Bengaluru is where the outer ring road of Bengaluru meets the corridor to the Bengaluru's only international airport, which is about 30-35 kilometers away from this junction. This flyover is named after an area called Hebbal, and there is a lake by the same name. If you want to know more about this area, I have a very good episode with Rajkumar Dugar from season 1 on the inscription stones of Bengaluru, which talks about this. But back to the lake. The lake is a part of the Hebbal-Nagavara lake system, and naturally this area is at a lower altitude than the rest of the areas in the north and south and the surrounding of this lake. It also forms a basis of water supply for the entire neighborhood of the area. The suburban train line has a very good network on this side of town, the northern side of Bengaluru, with the metro also slowly creeping its network into the north of Bengaluru. The Hebbal flyover itself is 4 lanes wide. It connects traffic coming in via 16 lanes of traffic from the airport, which is divided as 6 on the elevated corridor and 10 at the bottom. They all meet here. Some of them split east and west, and some more get into the city straight via these 4 lanes. So 16 lanes of traffic from the airport and the other areas hit these 4 lanes. To the south of the flyover, which is the city side of the carriageway, it is 10 lanes wide. Clearly, the basic physics has left the chat, and the traffic engineering had left the brains of the engineers who were planning this. There is 16 lanes, there is 10 lanes, and then there is 4 lanes. Of course, an extra disjointed lane was added to the Hebbal flyover, which was towards the airport. They added one. It was disjointed because there's a wall in the middle and they never bothered connecting it. It might have become another Gokhale flyover if it wasn't going straight through, if they tried to merge. So there's a level difference, all kinds of stuff, right? So that takes it to 3 towards the airport bound. There is a construction now going on to add 2 more lanes to the south side, which is the getting into the city. That takes it 4 on the other side. So you now will get 7 lanes. And the construction is currently on for that addition as well, right? Meanwhile, there is a tunnel that is being planned. And at the end of it, get this, it ends in a chicken neck of 4 lanes when it gets out onto the other side. So this is the engineering that is planned. But there are lots of other issues around this whole the tunnel issue. Let's just unpack this craziness with Rajkumar Dugar of Citizens for Citizens. Let's get into that. Raj, welcome back to the show one more time. Last time we were talking suburban rail, but this time we are here because the tunnel roads have made a comeback as an option for Bengaluru. Now, you guys have gone around analyzing this quite a bit, right? Yourself, you have you shared some things with me, and I looked at it, and I thought it was interesting enough that we should talk about that. What did you find was the current situation of traffic in the place where they are saying that the tunnel road will come?
What we found is so interesting. The average time round the clock, that is 24 hours, taken by vehicles to go both ways, either way, is 7 to 9 minutes only. And to the tunnel, now any tunnel will have its upper speed limit. I think for this it will be about 60 kilometers per hour. So to cover 4 kilometers, which is what they are saying will be the length of the tunnel, it will take minimum 4 minutes. It could take a little more if you're going at lesser speed. So here on the one side, we have 4 minutes minimum. On the other side, presently we have 7 to 9 minutes average around the clock, meaning during peak hours it could be a little more, but there are times when it is lesser than 7 to 9 minutes. And interestingly, two-wheelers are taking lesser time by about almost 2 minutes, lesser than 7 to 9 minutes. Why I'm highlighting two-wheelers is Bangalore is peculiar, about 70% of all vehicles in Bangalore are two-wheelers. So this is also very important. Basically, with a tunnel, what we are finding is that there could be a gain of 3 to 4 minutes. That's it.
And how much are we spending for the 3 to 4 minutes of gain?
Oh, spending in terms of money. Very interesting. What the government has come out in the public domain is that each kilometer will cost 690 crores. Let's round it off to 700 crores. And it's a 4-kilometer tunnel, which means that we are talking about 2,800 or 3,000 crores. But I believe the cost will be much more than that. Generally, we see in major projects, you would know also better about this, the cost ultimately doubles. So we're talking about, let's say, minimum 3,000 to about 6,000 crores for 4 kilometers to gain 2 to 3 minutes. But actually, as we go further, you will come to know, I'll explain how, even that 2 to 3 minutes is not going to be there in a few years before the tunnel can be finished.
You're right. So I was just before the conversation, I was referring to you about this book I'm reading about how big things get done. But it's very interesting is what you said is a lot of big projects. If you don't spend a lot of time planning and understanding the consequences and evaluating alternate, end up costing more than double. And this is very well known. And he identifies this as the political cost, which is politics needs you to show things very quickly. So you end up deliberately underestimating. It is well known. If you put the true cost of anything, nothing ever gets done. So what they do is they deliberately underestimate on time, underestimate on cost, just so they can push the file through and show the people the rosy picture. It's always going to double in cost. Be that as it may, let's come back to this traffic.
I think they're going to have a toll to enter the tunnel. So according to me, this if there is a toll within a city to enter a tunnel, it becomes a non-inclusive mode of commute. The entire money spent on this will ultimately, directly or indirectly, go from you and me. That is everyone, all of us.
Fair enough. We can talk about that because there are issues about how you consider road pricing, because today a lot of congestion pricing is by kilometer. Even your FASTag would become by kilometer if you use technology at some point in time. Singapore is moving from an electronic road pricing for people who drive cars and congest the roads and want all this big fancy infrastructure. They have to pay for it and it has to be collected. The people who use it should be collected from them. This is my view. It could be open for interpretation. You might say all public roads are for everyone, but when you build exclusive infrastructure like this, you might not tomorrow allow everybody into this tunnel, right? It could become exclusive. You would only say some vehicles, and you can't allow public transport inside that. You can't have bus. There are at least 4 to 5 stops in that. At least 3 I can count, right? There's the ST Mall, there's the Hebbal, there's CBA Junction, and there's Mekri Circle, both on this side and on the other side. That's almost 4 to 5 stops. All of those people. So the bus is also not going to use. Public transport is not going to be using it. That's some of the things that you identified. But let me come back to this question. I have seen tunnel roads in other places.
Yes.
Most of the time, it is built on highways for forgiving terrain. Most of the bridges and tunnels that are built in other countries are most usually to cover the water. So they either have rivers or creeks or some such thing that they want to cross over, or some very mountainous region inside the city for which you have to cross. So to get over topological barriers is usually why this is done. What topological barrier are we crossing in Mekri Circle? The only topology I can see is the one we have built ourselves, that flyover that we built. That's the only gradient we have ourselves introduced like a mountain. Why do you think this is a bad idea?
This topological challenge in this particular stretch, there is absolutely nothing. There is no mountain, there's no river, there's nothing. In fact, it's going under a road, along with the road. So this is definitely not an ideal situation for a tunnel. And what I feel is that this kind of option will actually go against the intent, because it will encourage private transport. If I'm going to provide tunnels like this, and then people feel, okay, the feeling is there that, I can reach from point A to point B through the tunnel faster. So a person who has, nowadays we know a lot of people in Bangalore have more than one vehicle. In fact, Bangalore has got the dubious distinction of having as many vehicles as number of people. So we'll have people buying more vehicles, more cars. So it's like encouraging the addition of vehicles and then adding to the congestion. So this is something, and every entry exit point will also see a lot of congestion because people will say, okay, let me go into the tunnel, or when they come out, they'll have to go somewhere else. So those kind of congestion will increase. This is one part of it. But the other question that you asked is in terms of, there'll be a lot of disruption during construction. For example, we have seen during metro construction, the roads are barricaded and the surrounding area is all messed up for years together. And then any tunnel, when it is being built, there are a lot of risks involved, including accidents, fire, flooding. When you're working underground, Satya, I want us to understand. Actually, they are groping in the dark. Whatever tests are done beforehand, all that is fine. You have all the reports with you, and then you start drilling, or you start, getting into the underground, and then you see, oh my God, this is so different from what we thought. What do we do about it? So you have a lot of things: accidental rock falls, rock bursting, sudden entry of water, emission of some inflammable or poisonous gases. So many things happen. Even surface subsidence and ground vibrations. These are all challenges that are there during construction. No one knows in Bangalore really. There is no information available what is in the ground anywhere. If you go to any agency and say, can you give me a comprehensive underground services details from your site, like for example, BWSC, Bestcom, BPMP, whoever you go to, they might give you some vague information, but it will not be comprehensive, it will not be reliable. Only when you go down, you'll say, where is this pipe coming from? They'll say, oh, from 50 years ago, they put this, we don't know anything about it. These kind of things are there. So when you're constructing, you actually want to disrupt all those services. And then people will be affected with that. And then you'll have to bypass, plan, because you wouldn't have thought of it earlier. So these kind of challenges are there in
I want to expound on this risk a little more, but I want to come back to what you said, right? I live in this place where the tunnel is going. I live on the left side when you're going from Mekri Circle onto this Hebbal flyover, right? And on the other side is Hati Nagar, on this side is Sanjay Nagar. We know that there are hardly 2 or 3 entries onto this road at all. We are already cut off halfway through. Okay. Now, most of these plans, whether it is a flyover or a tunnel tender, usually is only for the flyover or the tunnel. And most of the other things, what happens to the surface? And there is a new project which is going on already to add 2 more lanes to the existing 2 lanes on the Hebbal flyover. Yes. On the side from the airport where you said the congestion is longer. And they've already added 1 extra lane to this. You're not even going to finish adding 2 lanes. And then you're going to put this stuff. And you nowhere in any of these plans does it say what happens to the surface. Right? That's so you're adding 4 more to 10. If 10 hasn't solved the problem, is 14 going to solve it? If 14 isn't going to solve the problem, what do you want? 18? Yes. Or you want 24? How much do you want to keep counting on the same stretch again and again? Show me a plan of what happens on the surface, because a lot of people are going to be excluded from underneath. So is the 10 going to become 2 for us? Is it going to become 10 for us? What happens to the people of these areas who are already cut off from this road? Sanjay Nagar has 2 entrances to this road. RT Nagar has 3 entrances to this road. Everything else is small, narrow, itty-bitty places where nothing can come out of. You only have a 4-kilometer stretch has only 5 entrances to this road already. And you have 10 lanes. So who are we building this for is one question. That is from my side, the contribution to not wanting to have this. The second thing also is one of the risks you said was the water table when you drill. The Hebbal lake on the left side and the Nagwara lake is a part of a channel which used to exist earlier. The overflow from Hesargata comes all the way to Hebbal, and from Hebbal to Nagwara, and then downstream onto the other side. You have already interrupted that and the water table is down. I spoke with Vishwanathan, I was shooting the other 2 episodes, and he told me very clearly is that you don't even know what is under. How much of the water table and the aquifers you are destroying, you don't even care. You have not bothered to find out. You have not bothered to drill and see where the aquifers are. And how much of it are we destroying, you don't want to tell people. I think it is any government, it doesn't matter whichever one it is, should care for the people who live in the area. So you want to destroy the water table of people around Hebbal, Nagwara, Sanjay Nagar, Tinagar, and all these places so that some people can save 3 minutes going to the airport. Why is that even considered, that you can destroy so many people just because you want to save 3 minutes, right? What are the risks do you see on this? What is the environmental impact of these kind of projects?
So I'll take the first part of your question in terms of what are the entry exit points sort of and all that. And Satya, I'm seriously disappointed with the fact that whatever little details we have got till now is from what the media has been able to give us in tidbits. There is, I will say, total lack of transparency in this project. This kind of project, these kind of questions that you're asking, they are the specific ones which need to have been addressed. How there has to be, the government should have actually approached DULT, the Directorate of Urban Land Transport, asked them to come out with a study. And by law, we are all aware that these kind of projects must be taken up under the BMLTA, Bangalore Metropolitan Land Transport Authority. Now, none of this, to our knowledge, has happened. Even the traffic police, have they given their opinion? There has been no public and stakeholder consultation for such a new project, which for Bangalore, which is being thought of. There is no official information in public domain whether all these things have been carried out. So we have to depend on certain inputs that the media has put out. And from that, what I can say to the first part of your question is that there should be some couple of entries and exits on both sides to manage traffic coming from the Sanjay Nagar side as well as the RT Nagar side. But then you see the problems that will start. Now, at present, I'm able to enter at several places. Now I'll have to get in through that entry. So I have to go to reach that entry. And so the congestion in the surrounding roads will increase. All of us will go through to try to enter that particular, get into that entry. Or when we exit from one particular place, then we move around in the area to get to our place. Because there are only limited number of entry exits. And of course, they can't have too many entry exits. That is also fair enough. But then the congestion outside is being added to. So coming to the second part of your question, which is a very, very important one in terms of the environment, the water table and all that. I feel that one of the claim of this project for under the benefits list is that there is no tree cutting. Well, on the face of it, it looks like there is no tree cutting, but I'll tell you that is not true. Because these approach roads at the entry and exits, they are not going to be built underground. They are going to be some kind of ramps which are going to be built. And for them, you'll have to acquire some land, you'll have to reduce the width of present land and all those things, and you'll have to cut some trees. And when you're doing those, even if you're not cut too many trees, some of the roots of some of the large trees nearby will get damaged because you're going down. In addition to that, there'll be a lot of construction of available land on road above, which will lead to, we will have to acquire land and cut trees, and disruption of services will also happen. Now, apart from this, you will have disposal. When you do a lot of tunneling work, you're coming out with a lot of soil and rock. Now, where do you take this? You will have to transport all of this to some place and dump it. So this is definitely an environmental impact. Soil and water will get contaminated. There is no doubt about that, because when you're doing all this tunneling, you have to use certain chemicals. I don't want to go into details, but there are things like, bentonite, which is used around the tunnel to make sure that the tunnel is safe. And that, if it is not maintained properly, pH is not maintained properly, it will contaminate the nearby soil and water. Airflow. Now, before I go to that water table you mentioned, whenever you're doing tunneling, nobody knows clearly where is the aquifer down there, what is its alignment, what is its depth. Little bit information can be got from studies. But when you're doing tunneling, you will end up, disrupting some of these aquifers. So the traditional old wells, bore wells, or ponds, lakes like the Hebbal lake you mentioned, all of these, there is potential of damage in terms of the water table. So even when we do, when some large building is being constructed nearby and we go down for the foundation, there are chances of the aquifers getting disrupted. We have actually seen in the case of the tunneling done by BMRCL that certain wells and bore wells have become dry just because of the underground work that they have done. The other environmental impacts are in terms of airflow, because inside the tunnel, it's a completely different kind of an atmosphere compared to outside. In the sense, the airflow has to be maintained, the quality of the air has to be maintained, the temperature inside has to be maintained, because when the vehicles are moving, their emissions are staying within the tunnel, and when that collects together, it can result in excess of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, oxides of nitrogen, sulfur dioxide, unburned hydrocarbons, etc. So all these are, when they collect there, very, very dangerous. It's not only when we breathe, they can even ignite and cause fire. We have seen a lot of fire accidents in tunnels across the world many times. So these have to be removed. So constantly the air quality, flow and temperature has to be monitored and maintained within a certain allowed range. So this is an additional impact. Apart from that, the team which monitors this has to be very highly trained, dedicated and alert, because even a momentary laxity can result in anything. Now, lighting has to be good, cameras have to be there. Why I'm telling you all this is, this ends up with high energy requirement for using the tunnel. So there are quite a few environmental impacts. It's not simply that, okay, no trees are going to be cut. There is the other side of it. And actually, when the tunnel comes close to the lake, which you mentioned, that is Hebbal Lake, it's just about 50-60 meters away, that's all. We don't know what is going to happen. Most likely, the water table there is going to be completely disrupted, because when they are making the tunnel, they'll not bother about all this. Once they're made, they have to complete it. So they will just try to make sure that water doesn't get into the tunnel, and they will complete it. Whereas the ecology of the place, the water table, the complete environmental impact will be there. So the question now is, has an EIA, that is environmental impact assessment, been done? If it has been done, where is it? Why not in the public domain?
Typically, what people would say is, you guys are anti-development. A tunnel is a sign of development.
Yeah.
If Singapore can have it, why can't we have it?
Yeah.
Why, when somebody else can put a tunnel somewhere, I can't put a tunnel here? Anyway, our road space is low, we have to augment. I was just looking at your note that you had sent with all of those details. I realized that the elevated flyover from the airport lands down near ST Mall,
Yes.
and it goes lower and lower, because the lowest point is where the Hebbal Valley is, between Nagara and Hebbal, right? So it's at the lowest point. And now you are going even lower, and Mekri Circle is high grounds.
Yes.
It's on a very high ground, because that point was typically flow back into the Hebbal Valley from that side. Yes. Right? Tell me about this height. I saw some numbers on your thing.
Yes.
I can logically see these things. Are you going really, really low? You have to go very low. So you're coming from an elevated, going all the way down, and then coming right back all the way up onto a higher ground. Is this even, what are we trying to do?
The implications are quite important here. So as you rightly said, when you're coming from the airport, you're going down at Esteem Mall, you're going down. And then if the tunnel is, if one has to go through the tunnel, you have to go, I think, at least 10 meters or 15 meters down further. And then after that, let me also say that the approximate elevation of the Hebbal flyover ground level is about 890 meters above sea level, whereas Mekri Circle is at 950 meters. So we're talking about a difference of about 60 meters, which is there. The Mekri Circle part is higher. Now, what implication it has on the tunnel is that, first of all, you go down below 890, below the Hebbal flyover, and then you can't go at the same level because you have to make up your 60 meters, which is the difference between the Hebbal flyover and the Mekri Circle. So you have to climb up. Now, there are two major implications here. One is the water flow. Whatever water gets into the tunnel, could be rainwater, could be anything. The drainage of that water, which is extremely important, you cannot have water staying in a tunnel for long. That there is an additional challenge here. The second challenge is, see, even though the gradient is not too much, over a distance of 4 kilometers, somebody might say, okay, we are climbing up 70, 80 meters, that's all. But yes, when the vehicles are going up, the emissions in those vehicles, from those vehicles, are going to be a little higher. The speed may be a little lesser. I'm not talking about a car which can do 100 kilometers per hour, that will go happily at 60, but there could be other vehicles, there could be a Matador, there could be, and in Bangalore, we have a lot of vehicles which emit all kinds of things. So the emissions on the up way are going to be a little more. So these two factors will have to be weighed in when the slope is being considered in terms of the water flow and drainage and in terms of the emission.
What are the alternates? Let's say we say, don't do this. People will come back and say, how can you stop us from going in our vehicles? That is a choice I have. I need a tunnel. I need a flyover. I want to go faster. Is that good enough for the city? What are the other projects that are around which can actually help us do this better?
So this is the most interesting part now. You see, when do we think of a tunnel? We think of a tunnel when we have tried out everything and it has not helped. That is when we say, okay, now what next? And then we say, okay, let's go for this. Now, the very interesting point is that as we speak now, there are at least half a dozen projects which are in the pipeline, which are actually going to reduce the present traffic between Hebbal flyover and Mekri Circle. I'll tell you what are the new things that are happening. First of all, we have seen traffic congestion. Maximum traffic congestion is on Hebbal flyover when we are coming from the airport, not when we are going from the city. Why is that so? Because from the city to airport, they have already built an extra lane, or rather an extra ramp, which is adding to the width available while going, so giving us more space for the vehicles to pass. That was not the case in the direction of airport to city till now. There were two ramps which are coming and joining, and these were causing some kind of gridlock on top. Last year, the BDA started construction of a new ramp from SC Mall side towards Baptist Hospital. Now, in between, that work had stopped, and apparently now I am told that the work has restarted. Probably by end of this year, it should be done. Let's assume that it's done by this within 1 year. That is going to reduce the traffic congestion on the flyover in the airport to city direction. That is the first thing. The second thing I'd like to draw your attention to is, which everyone in Bangalore knows, is that there is a metro to airport which is being constructed. And the government of Karnataka is on record saying that it will be ready by 2026. We are in 2024, so 2.5 years more. No tunnel can be made ready within that. It will take at least 5-6 years minimum. And I'll come to that also. Why? Okay, let me tell you why. We have seen in Bangalore that tunnel boring machine of metro does about, on an average, 1 kilometer in 1 year. So if you're going to do 4-5 kilometers, it will take 4 to 5 years. There has to be 2 tunnels, by the way, to go and to come back. So now the thing is, this metro to airport will 100% be ready before this tunnel can be made ready. So you're going to take off that traffic away from this road. Right now, all the traffic is converging onto this road and going to airport or coming back and diverging. The third project is a dedicated suburban rail airport corridor from the heart of the city, that is Majestic, to the airport terminal. Now, this particular corridor was supposed to have been ready last year, October. Of course, no work has started till now. I am told that the tender is going to be awarded in the next couple of months, or rather, tender will come out in the next couple of months, and the work will start. And we can safely assume that by 27, this corridor of the suburban rail will be ready. The moment this is ready, a whole lot of traffic, or rather commute, will shift to this suburban rail airport corridor. Apart from that, as we are talking, there is a construction of another suburban rail corridor going on, which crosses Hebbal. That is from Beniganhalli or Bayapanhalli via Hebbal, via Yashwantpura to Chikbanawala. Now, this particular thing, how will it help reduce the traffic here? The moment this is ready and the airport metro is ready, people can take the train, suburban train to Hebbal and switch over to the metro. I'll come back to this switchover point, and then go to the airport. So they will not travel by road. Now, a very interesting thing is happening. There is a new metro line, which actually the government of Karnataka has approved, and it is awaiting approval from the government of India, which should happen very soon after the election process gets over, I assume. There is a new line which is planned from Sarjapura to Hebbal. And the most interesting thing about this, Sathya, is that the alignment of that line is exactly the same as along this, Mekri Circle to Hebbal flyover. So you're talking about a wide road, which you mentioned just now, almost 100 feet or a little more than that width. And then you're talking about a tunnel underneath. Then you're talking about metro, all going in the same, alignment for 4 kilometers, not required. Last thing I want to tell you is that beside the Hebbal flyover, on the side opposite to the Hebbal lake, there is a area which has been earmarked for a multimodal hub. Now, this multimodal hub will have major BMTC bus stop, it will have metro stations, at least a couple of them, and it will have the suburban rail station nearby. And all these stations are going to be tightly integrated for crossing over, walkability, and all that. That is what I mean by you can easily change from one mode of transport to another mode, because it's being designed that way. So this is going to be a major thing. And there's one more. I mean, the list is so interesting. As we are speaking, you might have remembered that from Mekri Circle to Kaveri Theatre, recently, I think a couple of years, 22, I think, the road was widened. Not much. That widening has already helped reduce the traffic congestion at Mekri Circle when you are coming from the airport side. And I think about last month, the government of Karnataka has said that it is moving ahead with acquiring several acres of palace land along this road, and then further widening this road to reduce the traffic congestion further. So these kind of things, you're talking about metro, you're talking about suburban rail, we're talking about multimodal hub, we're talking about the new ramp that is being built next to the Hebbal flyover, and this widening of this, the Sankey Road next to the palace. All these are going to, and they're all going to get over before the tunnel can ever be completed, even if they start today. All these projects will reduce the traffic congestion on this road further, and that time difference, which I was talking to you about, 3 to 4 minutes, that will come down.
But then there will not be a case to sell a shiny new toy like the tunnel, no? If all the problems are solved, how can politicians solve problems for you? They need a problem. Everything is a problem that needs to be solved. If we have to engineer our way out, we have to engineer the air out of there, we have to engineer the water out of there, we have to engineer the tunnel into it. Water, who cares? Air quality, who cares? Heat wave, it will go away. We'll engineer that also. I think at some point, our hubris is what is going to get us in trouble. And but again, coming back to this, other cities have built tunnels. I was just reading this. Sashi Kumar from TFL had quoted in the Deccan Herald. If you build a one-lane tunnel road, that cost is comparable to a tunnel for a railway. A road will only carry perhaps 2,000 people per hour, but the railway can carry up to 80,000 people. So the choice is very simple. Spend the available money on choices that benefit more people, right? And tunnels are only constructed for short distance to get around obstructions, such as to go underwater or cross mountains, where alternatives would be a longer diversion Like you mentioned, it has to be the last choice effort. But we want to show shiny new toys to people. We are continually making bad choices. We seem to think that they are good choices. They are choices that are attractive because somebody showed it to me and other people seem to have done it. Boston has done the big dig at extensive costs and destroying their everything and found that nobody cares about it. After 2 days of use, it's just another road. Nobody ever cares. There'll be soot sticking on the edges. There'll be water flow logging in there. Nobody cares afterwards that it is going to be. People might be drowning in it for all you know, because the water might be coming in. We don't know what happens.
There is no transparency. That is the biggest problem. If there was transparency, then we would have had a report cycle. We would have had this going through BMLTA. We would have had the environment impact assessment, the social impact assessment for this kind of a thing, the DPR. None of this is available. And can we afford that for 2-3 minutes spending 3,000-4,000 crores? That money can be used some elsewhere. And last point I want to tell you, Sathya, so important, so practical is, we don't want one more EG Pura here in the tunnel.
I can't afford. I live here. I live right around the corner. I can't even get to any road. I have exactly three narrow roads to go to the airport, and all of them are roundabout.
Let them take people into confidence and do it. No problem. If everybody wants it, let's do it. But then the thing is, when we know that, just imagine, just take the simple example. The tunnel has been made already or is being made. And here comes a metro line from Tarjapura to Hebbal. Have you asked BMRCL whether you will have any challenges in constructing your line with this tunnel in place? Has BMRCL said, okay, go ahead? It's very important. Because tomorrow BMRCL should not come till Mekri Circle and say, no, we can't construct further, or we have new challenges, or the cost of this project is going to go up 10 times because of this.
We can't build an underpass without flooding it and losing lives. In a simple underpass, all our magic boxes are flooded under the railway. We want to create solutions that are fast and quick, but then we end up making so many mistakes that it takes lives, and we can't get engineering straight on the surface. You have 10 lanes reducing to 3 lanes, reducing to 18 lanes with one highway. When you're building these things, why are you building them like that? The signboards are horrible. I go at the end of the Hebbal flyover, it says you should have taken this already. So you have to come right back.
I also messed up.
Right? Too late. You should have told me 100 meters ahead. I should have been somewhere else, right? We can't get basic things like that. It's not that the private contractors don't have massive engineering capabilities. It is the attention to detail on the ground. Who are you excluding? What are the unintended consequences? The areas that this is passing through are going to complain. What are you leaving on the surface? I have not seen a plan.
Yes.
When you build a flyover, you don't tell what is going to happen underneath. When you build a tunnel, you're not going to tell me what's happening overhead. Are we going to get more trees? Are we going to get a cycle track? Are we going to be able to walk? What are the people of these areas going to do? Are they going to get all the 10 lanes back? I don't want so many, but are you going to take that away, eat it up? You're going to get more access. Plans are not shown. It's a part of your transparency question, right? Why don't you tell people this place is going to be better and not worse? And it's not a sales pitch that you need to show this to get the thing, right? You can clearly tell people you don't want it, you live. This is how it's going to be. Take the train. That's the brand of Bengaluru, is you take the train, we take the bus. Shakti scheme has done a lot more benefits to a lot of people, right? Do that instead. Get public transport going. Get walking and cycling. I've been crying horse for people. There are thousands and thousands of people wanting to bicycle around. We don't get that. Why not? Because it's not nice. We want to show a big picture for the international investors. In fact, all the international investors who come here says, I want to cycle around. They come to me and say, take me on a bicycle. I want to explore the city. I want to feel it. They won't feel it in the tunnel. Only a few rich people in Bangalore will go around in that. This was a useful conversation. I think we do have our views on what it is. And I'd like to hear from people what they think of it. It's important to have an open conversation on this. This is not the only perspective. We have our own perspective because we are also affected. Thank you very much, Raj, for coming on the show again, talking about this.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely a pleasure talking to you as always.